Chapter 9, Lesson 4, Solve Polynomial Equations in Factored Form. So the important thing to understand is that we're just doing some things in terms of using the GCF, the greatest common factor here. That's one thing in this first step that it looks like here. So if we have an equation, or if we have an expression like this, what's the number and letter that go into both of them? Well, x goes into both of them. So does, if we think about the greatest common factor between 10 and 4, it's going to be, if you look here, 2. That's the only one that they share. So the greatest common factor is going to be 2. And then, if we look then after that, we look at the variable in terms of the exponents. The actual factor that goes into both exponent-wise is actually x, because I can't put x squared into both. So it's going to be in its factored form, it's going to be 2x times, and then it's going to be 5x plus 2. And if you see, when you multiply that out, you're going to end up with this equation here, 10, or this this binomial expression here, 10x squared plus 4x. When you multiply 2x times, in parentheses, 5x plus 2, you end up with that. So another example here, if we have 12x plus 3y, what's the only thing that goes into both? Look at it in two different ways. At the numbers here. So if we do the prime factorization of this, the only number or letter that goes into both is 3. So it's actually going to be, this is the greatest common factor is 3, so it's going to be 4x plus y. So in terms of factoring here in the GCF, what ends up happening is that this changes into that. Because if I divide this whole expression by 2x, what I'm going to end up with instead is this here. So look at that, think about it for a second, and see if that makes sense. Okay, so if I have this, yes, the dice are back, so if I have this, then A is this, B is this, C is this, and D is this. So this would be 6x to the third power plus 2x to the first power. And when I simplify that, the thing that goes into both of those number-wise is going to be 2. So 2 goes into both of them. So when I divide 2 into that, that works. But also, x goes into both of them. And when I divide 2x, when I divide 6x cubed, when I divide that by 2x like this on the outside, I'm going to end up with 3x squared plus 1. So that is how this works. And an important thing so that's where we left off in class, and now we're going to talk about this, the zero product property. Okay, so if you have an expression, or if you have an equation like this, then logically, either this statement here or this statement here has to be equal to 0. Because if that's true, then this works, because it's 0 times a number is going to be equal to 0. So anytime that this whole thing here or this whole thing here equals 0, that's a true statement. So these are called the roots of solving these equations. And so what I have to do is I have to figure out what would I substitute in here to make this whole statement into a 0. So really it's just this. Well, x is going to be equal to -2. And same thing for the other one. So x is just going to be equal to 3. So the two roots are -2 and 3. So those are two possible solutions. So in this case here, it says here, if x minus 4 and x times x plus 8 is equal to 0, what are the roots? You'll notice that here it's just x minus 4 is equal to 0. And you probably start to be able to do these in your head. It's just going to be 4. And x plus 8 is equal to 0. It's just going to be x is equal to negative 8. So those are the roots. So now here, this one's a little bit tougher, but not that much tougher. So it's 2x plus 5. Since this whole thing is equal to 0, that's going to be equal to 0. And if that's one of the two roots. So now I'm going to bounce the 5 over. I'm going to end up with negative 5 is equal to 2x. So x is going to be equal to negative 5 divided by 2. And then also x minus 4 is equal to 0. So x is going to be equal to 4. So those are the two roots for this equation right here. So let's look at a couple more. For this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the greatest common factor and pull it out. In this case here, it's going to be, well, is there anything number that they have in common? Just 1. So dividing by 1 does me no good, because I can't divide by 4, because there's not a 4 in front of the minus x there, so I can't divide it by 4 does me no good. So what I can do is I can divide by x. So it's x is equal to 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. So that gives me two possibilities. Well, x could be equal to 0. If that's true, then this is a true statement. Or 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. And if that's true, then 4x is equal to 1, and x is equal to 1/4. So same sort of thing here. We do need to get it so everything is on one side of the equal sign, so we can have the thing be equal to 0 on the other side. So this is 8x squared minus 6x is equal to 0. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out that x statement as well, pull out that x statement from the side, but I also can pull out the greatest common factor here in the number, on the number side. So this is going to be so 2, 2, 2, and 2 and 3. So I can divide by 2 and x here. That's what the greatest common factor is of this whole expression. So it's going to be, when I do that, 2x times x, or 4x, because that's what that 4x times 2x is equal to 8x squared, minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, hopefully you see where I got the minus 3 from, because the minus 3 times 2x is going to be equal to minus 6x. So x could be equal to 0. That's one of the roots. And then the other root is going to be 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. So 4x is equal to 3. X is equal to 3 divided by 4. And that's it. That's all that happens, and hopefully that makes sense. And we'll go over it more in class. Thanks.